So my name is Antoinette Sahni, and I teach stage 5 and stage 6 business studies, economics, legal studies, commerce, and I'm a mentor too. So primary and secondary is very different. I enjoy both. The dynamics of the conversation is different because the subject matter is different. I love my primary mentees, not that I don't like my secondary mentees, but they just bring this warmth and that innocence into the conversations, which is just like, how Jesus said, you're the clay, I'm the potter. It is like that. But I have a set format, which I have kind of made it to suit me.
What does that typically look like?
Yeah. So this year I've started this new thing. So because Tangara, the motto of Tangara is ad sumam virtutem. So, in fullness of virtue. So we do have programs that builds in those virtue formation. In primary, it's called the GIFT program. In secondary, it's called the REAL program. But that we look at it at a classroom level. For the whole grade, we choose a virtue that we would like to work on for the whole semester or the term. So we study about the virtue together. So what does it mean? So for example, perseverance. What does actually perseverance actually mean? And how do I use that virtue in my day-to-day life? And there will be challenges, of course. A day would be like, I didn't, I forgot about. And one of my mentees, I remember, because I don't think about it too much. But that's the beauty of it. You don't have to consciously be thinking about it all the time. It becomes second habit to you.
Yes.
All right, okay, I'm using it. I'm persevering. Here's an up and a down. The day was not good, but I'm continuing.
Beautiful.
To always, what I tried, the whole thing is to bring in that supernatural element into our daily lives, right? And I propose this to the parents too, and some of the families have just embraced it, and they said, "Oh, we're all going to choose a virtue, and as a family, we're going to, have our conversations. So, how is this virtue going?" It's been working really well. So this is term 2, and from my primary to my secondary mentees, they all have a virtue and they're all working on it. And for me, that has facilitated my conversations. So gone are those days, because I have at least 5 year 7 mentees who are new to the school.
Year 7.
Yeah. So in the beginning, it was a bit difficult to have a kind of like, how was your day? Good. So what do you think? Good, fine. Those one word answers. But now the conversation flows because we know that we're working on this virtue, and they come back to, oh yes,
there's a focus.
There's a focus around their goals, their day-to-day activities, and I don't have to probe into, ask them any questions. It's just the conversation just
Beautiful.
flows.
Wow.
So it's always the focus is on them and their formation.
Yeah.
So the primary, it's usually for a shorter time. And sometimes I do it more frequently because I see them, around school. They don't see me every day. So sometimes when they see me, hi, I'm waiting for you. And they know exactly, they would note it in their diary, or they tell their parents, I'm meeting Mrs. Sahni today. So it's, I like to keep up to that, that earnestness for them to have that moment with, have their own conversation, their space where they can, say what they want. And there are so many moments. I have one young, she's in infants actually. Now she's in kindy. And there are days where we just sit back and look at the sky and, think about how God has created this beautiful day.
It's beautiful.
Just that moment, for me, it's like part of my well-being, more than mentoring.
Absolutely.
It's my moment. We go sit there, and just, and sometimes I encourage them to pray for the secondary students if there's an exam coming up or HSC trials. I tell my mentees, okay, can we say Hail Mary for
I love that.
these girls?
It's connecting them to the community as well. And
so they feel proud. They're contributing to, the whole school. And they are making a difference in their own little way.
Yeah. And what about with the high schoolers? What's the typical length of a mentor meeting, or it's different with every student?
Yes, it depends. It depends. Sometimes they want to, especially after exams, they want to go through how the exam was done, how they prepared, what were they happy about, not happy about. So those sessions actually take longer. It's interesting. The sessions before the exams are very short because they're so focused. And
Yeah.
oh, miss, I have to do this. I have to do this. Let's look at the goal, and that's it. Don't forget your virtue. And sometimes there could be, friendship issues. I can share something that happened last year with one of my mentees. So
Please.
she had a friendship issue, and again. So that was how it all started, how to choose a virtue instead of me saying, okay, how about let's look at this virtue of, respect or charity. It was her, she could see the difference, her response to that friend and how she could work on, tempering her temperament. And she could see that growth in her. And this year, it's completely different. And so when she chose a different virtue, she actually chose justice and then she changed.
Okay.
Yeah, she
Okay.
chose justice. And I said, well, why did you choose
Yeah.
justice? But she changed it. But it came from her own introspective way of looking
Yeah.
at her growth. Okay,
And when would they have opportunities to do that?
that depth, isn't it?
It's no, that's
Yeah.
right. That's such a great way of
To
approaching it.
work on their interior life,
That's right.
to look at everyday life,
Yes.
and then work on, how am I growing interiorly?
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. It's such
The journey is always beautiful.
Yes.
That's it. Sometimes it's hard, and then you see, it could be at the end of the term, something happened at the beginning of the term, or it could be the beginning of the year, and by the time we come to the end, we see that growth, and it's just beautiful.
That's so good.
Yeah.
There you
And the girls are very keen with this virtue because I said, okay, every year we're going to choose a virtue. And by the time you finish, you would have at least worked on 5 to 6 virtues, starting from year 7. So, they have this.
And they will take that
Take
with
that.
them
Yeah.
wherever they end up, the university life,
Yes.
workforce, wherever they
Yeah.
are,
And they can pass it on.
and they can pass it on.